Hi everybody, this is John and welcome to our first ever episode of Coffee Tech. So, thank you for being here. I hope you got your coffee. I got my huge Yeti mug of coffee. Actually, this is I think my third one of these this morning. So, anyway, thanks for being here. My table is squeaky. Sorry about that. Anyway, today what we're going to talk about is the iPad Pro and why I got one. See, I'm a Windows guy, as you can probably see. I'm not even sure Rig Manager is on there from the Kemper still. I'm a Windows guy. I use the Windows PC. I'm an Android guy. I even have a Galaxy Z Fold 2, so I spent way too much money on an Android phone. Why did I just decide to get an iPad? What's the purpose? I got the iPad. I got the Pencil, the Apple Pencil. I guess this is the second version of that. And I got the Magic Keyboard. But why? Let's find out right after this. And please, before you start watching, if you like anything that you're seeing so far, I guess I should ask you this at the end of the video, but because we're not at the end of the video yet, please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you know when new videos are coming out. All right, now let's go to the intro. Hey, hi guys, and welcome back. So for today, we're talking about the iPad. What this is the iPad Pro. This is the 2021 version, the M1 11 inch, and it's got 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. Apple Pencil, like I said, is version 2.0, and this is the Magic Keyboard. So the whole thing with tax and everything, and I got this at Best Buy, ended up costing me just over $1,400. Now that's quite a huge pill to swallow for a Windows guy. And why wouldn't I go with the Surface Pro 7? And I did think about that too. And there are some reasons why I didn't want to go with the Surface Pro 7. One of which is performance. So if I were to get a pretty much equivalent like an i5 Surface Pro 7 with 8 gigs of RAM, yeah, you do get the bigger screen, but you don't get a keyboard kind of thing like this, but you do get, that tilts back, and you can get that, I forget what Microsoft calls it, the Surface keyboard or whatever it's called, that kind of magnetically snaps onto the bottom, which is really cool. But then, that costs extra. It's not as much as this thing, but that costs too. So by the time you're done, you're probably around the same price as what you got with this thing. Now, as far as Windows management with RAM and all that sort of stuff goes, I think this is probably performing better. And what I wanted to do with this is be able to use something where I can write with the pencil, I can take some notes, I can do video editing away from my computer, away from my studio down here, because this is in a basement. I'm away from my family. So if I'm going to be editing video all day, or at least for part of the day, I'd like to be able to spend some time with my family while I'm doing it instead of locked down in my studio. So I thought, why not get something portable? So this seemed to fit the bill pretty well. And I'm going to show you some use case stuff. We're going to get some more close up. I'm going to do some screen captures of this so you can see in a little bit. But what I edit all my videos with now is LumaFusion. And what I was using before is PowerDirector 365, which I have a year subscription to that on the PC. My PC is pretty decked out. It does have an AMD processor in it, but it's 32 gigs of RAM. I do have a NVIDIA RTX 2070 Super graphics card in it, so it's got plenty of horsepower for video editing and things like that. But when I loaded up PowerDirector and I tried to do the same kind of video editing that I did on the iPad did it smoother and just did it in a higher bit of quality. Not the output, not the finished product, but I'm just saying the workflow and being able to manipulate what I'm doing on screen seem to work way smoother on the iPad than it does on my powerhouse PC back there, which is kind of odd, but when you start thinking about it, it kind of makes sense. Now, people bash Apple all the time for having more of a closed system, and they're probably closing it even more with the M1 chips in their own silicon now. But when you really look at the performance of what certain apps can do and what their closed platform can do, I think it makes a lot of sense if you're doing something like video editing or even music editing, things like that, or art or things of the creative nature. I think doing it on an Apple product seems to be, I say seems to be with a caveat, a lot better experience than on the Windows side. So I decided to take the plunge and get this guy. Now, a lot of people are, Apple just had their big event where they announced the iPad OS or iOS 15. I think it's iPad OS is different from iOS. I'm not sure. Anyway, iPad OS, we'll call it 15. They did announce it. People were expecting a lot more. Being able to use Mac apps and programs on your iPad. And a lot of people were really people were returning these things because they're like, hey, it's not going to be like a MacBook. I didn't buy it so someday it might turn into a MacBook. I bought the iPad Pro because I wanted it for what it could currently do. Now, if you could go out there and buy something with the sense of, I want to buy it because the promise of maybe it'll do this someday is way bad, especially when you're spending $1,400 or $900. I think it was $899 just for the tablet itself. You're doing yourself a disservice by spending that kind of money on something that you hope it's going to do in the future. I don't care about this turning into a Mac or running it. If it does someday, great. That's a bonus from my purchase that I already made. But if you go into it thinking that, hey, the next version of this iPad OS is going to do this much better, and I think you're missing the boat. This does everything I like. It does it well. It even integrates very well with the Windows side of things. Shared storage on my computer there, even an external storage. I have an 8 terabyte external storage, USB 3.0, so it's not lightning fast. See what I did there? Or Thunderbolt fast, but it's USB 3.0. It's shared out on my Windows desktop, and I can connect to it right from here with LumaFusion and go ahead and load all my videos right there. So when I capture the video I'm doing right now, I can load it onto my PC, just copy it right over, and I can access it right from LumaFusion on my iPad, or play it back right from my iPad via network drive. That's pretty cool. Now, I know you can do that with Windows and everything too, but people are scared that, hey, you're going to buy an Apple product and you're going to integrate it with your Windows side of things. It's not going to work. Well, it does work. And pretty much every Google product on here is on here too. And Microsoft product too. You can get Office on here. You can get, I have OneDrive on here. So there's a lot you can do with it, which is very cool. So that's my use case, really, is being able to take this with me, go, and it's really cool. It folds right up, and it's ready to go, and it's thin enough. It's light enough. Now this is a little heavy, but I think, and it's dirty too. See, I don't clean anything up for these videos. But for what I need it for, it just works. And it works good. And the battery life is good. And so, hang on, let me see if I can get the Face ID thing to work. Let's see. Why isn't it working? Face ID. Hello. Okay, so it didn't work. Okay, maybe they're not so great. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, what we're going to do is I'm going to cut out of this portion of the video. I want to go in and just show you some of the use case stuff that I'm using it for. the notes that I take and things like that real quick because I don't want this video to go on forever. But I just wanted to kind of highlight why I got this, what I'm using it for, and all that. So so let's go over, take a look at the screen real quick and show you what I'm using, what apps I'm using daily, and how I'm using them, and then we'll come back and wrap all this up. Okay, thanks. Hi everybody, we're back, and what you are looking at now is my iPad screen. So this is my home screen. This is everything I have on here. It's not very well organized, but it's got everything in here that I wanted to talk about. So as you can see, there's going to be really 3 apps here that I really want to highlight as what really works for me in my workflow. And those are OneNote, LumaFusion, and Pages. So first of all, let's go into OneNote, and this is where, so this is a really awesome app. This is obviously a Microsoft app, but it works really, really well with the Apple Pencil. You can do it in either scrolling, like I have it on text mode. If I change it to one of the pens, then I can use it for writing or erasing. Back to text mode if I want to just do whatever, and it just works. It's very awesome. You can highlight stuff or undo that, whatever you really want to do. It's very awesome. So that is, I can go back in here and I can go into each one of my shows. So you can create sections, notebooks, sections, and pages, and just take notes all day long, which is really awesome. So I can sit with my family, I can have my iPad, my cup of coffee or whatever, and my Apple Pencil, and just start taking notes on future episodes or what I'd like to do on the channel, or just trying to organize myself in general. What I'm using it for, obviously, is my YouTube videos, and it works really great for that. So that's OneNote that I use. The next up is LumaFusion, which to me is, it is just an awesome video editor. I'm very used to PowerDirector. I've been using it for years. I have a subscription to it, which I'm going to stop simply because LumaFusion does everything that does. It might take a little bit of work to get there, more so than what it would do with PowerDirector with all the built-in functionality that PowerDirector has. This doesn't have currently all that functionality, but what it does have is smoothness, and it's easy to use. It's very intuitive, and of course there's tons of YouTube videos out there that explain a lot of the finer details, which I did look at, and there's some great stuff out there for demos and things like that you can check out. So definitely check out LumaFusion. I love it. It definitely works really well. It's very smooth, a lot smoother than what my Windows desktop was able to do. So yeah, I'm just really, really, really liking it. And you can also do voiceovers right from here and right from the tablet, which is very cool. Next up that I wanted to cover is Pages, and this I use very seldom, but I do use it. And what I use this for is more for like a teleprompter. So as you can see here, I have everything typed out, which I was going to do for the channel introduction. I didn't end up using this, but this is what I did kind of have written up. And you can check out the channel introduction on the YouTube channel and just kind of check out what I ended up doing. But it kind of follows this script pretty well. But what you can do with this is if you go into presenter mode, and then if you click on like these fonts up top, you can have it set to auto scroll. So when you click on it, you can set the scroll speed as well, either slower or faster. Pretty cute with the turtle or the rabbit. And what you can do is just have it scroll at a certain speed and set it in front of your camera and use it as a teleprompter. So that's what I was using it for, and it works really, really well for that, honestly. And yeah, so that's about all I use this for, but it just works really well for that. So 3 of the apps I wanted to highlight are right there: OneNote, LumaFusion and Pages works really well. The only other thing I wanted to really highlight is there's lots that you can do with this that I didn't cover, like all of the YouTube, YouTube Studio, YouTube, Google Chrome, all the really top Android apps are on Apple as well. Even YouTube Music, which I use. So it's all there. I'm also going to do on the gaming corner show, I'm going to end up doing eventually a game streaming episode where I go over kind of the game streaming apps like you can see here. There's a PlayStation Remote Play, there's a cloud gaming, the Xbox Game Pass, Steam Link. I'm going to try to cover all that and see if this is pretty capable of being a game streaming device as well as a gaming device for mobile gaming. So lots you can do here, and I've only scratched the surface of what this thing's capable of, but I just really wanted to show you guys my workflow and what I use, what apps I use, and why I think this is a pretty cool device. So all right, we'll go back and we'll conclude this whole mess, and hopefully you got something out of this little rant here. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back. And yeah, let's wrap this whole thing up. I've still got my Apple Pencil, which stores very nicely at the top magnetically. Very cool. I know Microsoft does that too, so it's no big deal. Just wanted to highlight one thing too. This is plugged in with a USB Type-C to USB Type, I guess that's A, or regular USB type dongle. It's plugged into my blue Snowball microphone, and it just works on the iPad right off the bat. So as soon as I plug that in and I go to the recording, the screen recording, which you guys just saw previously, this is all I had to do, is plug that into the iPad, go ahead and do my screen capture, screen recording. It automatically knew that this microphone was plugged in, and it just works. So that's something that it's just the freedom of being able to just do things and have it work, I think, is where it makes everybody's workflow just a little bit easier. And I think I could get that a little bit better with this than I could with the Microsoft Surface Pro 7. Now, a lot of people are going to argue with me about that and say, that's not true. You can do this, this, and this. And you're probably right. You're probably right. But to each his own, right? I mean, that's just this is the way I prefer it. And, I've had this less than a month. I think it's been 2 or 3 weeks since I've had this, and already it's a keeper. Like, I got it with the intention of, if I'm not totally into this whole Apple ecosystem thing, or I'm having trouble figuring stuff out, which there is a slight learning curve to this, then I'll just return it, and we'll look at it. I'll get a Surface Pro 7 and try that next. But I have no reason to return this at this point. It does everything I need it to do right now. And if greater other features come, like I'd love to use this other than like GarageBand, I'd like to use some different type of DAW on this so I could record maybe directly into this from my audio interface right into this thing and do music production. That would be awesome too. But I'm not sure there's anything other than GarageBand that really works. I haven't researched it a lot. So if you guys do know, put it in the comments, because I'd be anxious to hear your thoughts on that. So, and just so you also know, everything I did touch on here is free except for LumaFusion is $30 on the App Store. Money well spent, honestly. I think it's great. That's a one-time fee. It's not a monthly fee. The only thing that is monthly is the app called, it's not an app, but it's where you can get kind of B-roll footage and stock footage, and that is called Storyblocks. And Storyblocks, there is a fee for that. You can kind of preview everything in Storyblocks. It does have music, it has pictures, it has videos, and like I said, they are all kind of like that B-roll kind of stock footage that you can get. Now you can get all that, you can search Google, you can download stuff that might or might not be royalty free to use in your videos. The video that you saw, or the intro to Coffee Tech, is done with footage from Storyblocks. So I think it's top notch. It's worth it. I think it was 69 or 70, somewhere around $70 per year for Storyblocks, which I think is a pretty darn good deal, being that you can spend up to $5 or more on just one clip of royalty-free stuff. So, in that sense, I think it's a pretty good deal. So, anyway, that's about all I had to cover. I hope this was kind of informative for you. I just really wanted to highlight. I originally intended to just give you a review of this. There's so many reviews out there of the iPad Pro M1s out there, and everybody's got their thoughts and opinions. I didn't want to do that again. I want to show you how I use it and what I'm using it for. And in the future, we're going to go over mobile gaming on this thing, on the gaming corner. We're going to look at game streaming on here. We'll take maybe some deep dives into LumaFusion a little bit too, if you guys are interested in that in a future Coffee Tech episode. Speaking of which, drink some coffee. So yeah, so there you go, guys. Episode 1. Tell me what you think. If you're watching this, please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you know when future episodes are coming up. Stay tuned. There's plenty of other shows on the channel. We have Guitars and Gear. We have this show. We have the Gaming Corner. We have our weekly report that's going to come out with news across the whole spectrum of the channel. So stay tuned for all that cool content that's going to be coming. More coming all the time. Thanks for watching. This is John with Coffee Tech, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Or actually, bye.